Hello and welcome back to the Student StarCraft AI Tournament weekly broadcast. This is Nightcat and I will be your host for this week. And as of December 25th, the round robin phase of the SSCAIT 2020-2021 tournament has begun. There will be a total of 3,080 games played by 56 bots, 19 of which are Protoss, 19 of which are Zerg, and 15 are Terran. Finally, 3 are random. All games are being played in randomized order and will be live streamed on the Twitch stream, which is, twitch.tv/SSCAIT. As well, you can also watch them on the website, as well as view the rankings, which is what we are looking at currently, which is on the website SSCAITtournament.com. So what we're looking at right now is just the top bots as of 7:24 p.m. Eastern Time. So it looks like currently we have 2 bots that are still undefeated with only 10 to 9 games underneath them, with Ironbot and Monster being there. We're also seeing Purple Wave with 14 wins and 1 loss, Banana Brain with 9 wins, 1 loss, and pretty much every bot up at the top is currently only with 1 loss, but some of them have less games played than others since the games are played in random order. Although we do start to see 2 losses starting with Stardust and below. So for this week, I'd like to focus on matches that are from the SSCAIT round robin phase. So let's go ahead and jump into our first game. For our first game here, we have a recommended one between Purple Wave and Juno, with Purple Wave spawning as the yellow Protoss up at the top left of Empire of the Sun, and Juno spawning as the brown Protoss down at the bottom right. So I'm excited to see what both of these bots will do here. We have our opening pylon here by both bots in their main bases, so no kind of quick expansion coming. Purple Wave is scouting. We have a forge coming down now for Juno, while Purple Wave is getting gas and got a gateway, now getting a cyber core, and it looks like Juno is a cannon bot, rushing bot. That's right. I forgot that that is what Juno does. So the cannons have started outside of Purple Wave's base, but not in range of any buildings just yet. Purple Wave going to be able to start, sees the cannons, wisely backs off, but sends a probe out to its death while carrying 8 minerals. That's 8 minerals less that Purple Wave will have. Now Juno is building cannons back relatively safe. He looks like it maybe wants to place something around here, but is just not able to due to this zealot that is kind of keeping this probe at bay. Now we do have a Dragoon started, another pylon coming down for Purple Wave, but Purple Wave, I think, is it maybe trying to either snipe the probe? It was trying to snipe the probe there. Probe took a little bit of damage, but the Dragoon taking a bit of damage that it really doesn't need to yet. Purple Wave, though, really able to stop the advance of these cannons. Can probably just sit back and just get an army large enough to take this out. We do have the Cybernetics core, and I do that again. Getting the range upgrade for the Dragoons, they're able to snipe the probe once that is complete. And we do have 4 gateways off of 1 base, so it looks like it's a 4-gate goon build off of this, which is probably a good build to try and get yourself out of a contain. Now we do have a gateway coming down to block this entrance here, so the Dragoons kind of struggling here, taking shots. Looks like they were trying, I guess, to attack this unbuilt cannon at the moment, but not quite being able to because of the gateway. And they're not going to be able to walk out, too. That gateway's kind of walling them in, but they are diving in now. They feel strong enough to do some damage here. Oh, there is a little path here. They can seemingly get out through the terrain right here at the top of the gateway. But able to take 1 cannon out, but that cannon will probably be rebuilt here. Oh, nope, we're getting another gateway instead. Some probes dancing down below. Not quite sure what that was about. I think they're, like I said, I think they're trying to get into like this section here somewhere. to build more cannons and pylons and just not quite able to. But it is interesting to notice that whenever there is a zealot out on the field, the dragoons are much more willing to be aggressive and take damage while dealing damage to these zealots. And one thing that I've noticed is that Purple Wave could be taking down this gateway. These dragoons could easily sit outside of the range of the cannons and fire on this gateway, and they're just not doing it. Meanwhile, Purple Wave, oh no, there's only one probe on gas. I closed the little overlay there. One probe on gas, so very, very short on gas. So its production tab is not as good as it could be. With the amount of minerals that it has, it could be pumping out a ton of zealots to help engage with this fight here, but instead keeping its army very low because of the gas restriction and never moving more probes over to gas. So this game is not looking like it's going to be good for Purple Wave. I'm not sure, though, exactly which of these series of events led to this behavior from Purple Wave. Whether it was the really small choke here on the map and the gateway kind of clogging it up, not letting the dragoons get a good spread on the cannons. That would be my first guess. It could also just be how tight the contain was, at all. The fact that it was right outside the choke of the main could have been what was causing a problem there for Purple Wave. But way to go, Juno, taking a win off of one of the more highly rated bots with a cannon rush right out the front. Goes to show that cheese can sometimes still win you games. We'll go ahead and speed this up a bit here as this finishes up here. Juno with the zealots, gonna clean this away, or clean this up. But yeah, there's a lot of things here that Purple Wave could have done to have stayed alive in the game and broke this contain. And the cleanup continues. Wait, what? All the production tab because of all of the banked minerals for Purple Wave there. Just the whole base being rebuilt down below. Whoa, that's even more gateways than had, and a citadel. So based on the citadel being placed, it feels as if some part of the base destruction triggered something in Purple Wave to continue its plan instead of just trying to pump off of 4 gateways. But it was a little bit too late. Good game by Juno. Oh. I completely missed these bases here being built because I was so focused on the contain and what was happening. Hello. Well, let's see what Juno does here. Juno is going to find these bases. At least found the one. So that's good to see that Juno has the logic to find the expansions. You know, this is a situation I don't think I've seen Juno in before, to be quite honest. I'm gonna have to take a look and see when that probe got out, because I had no idea another base was started, and I'm gonna scan back a bit after the conclusion of this game. Yeah, just looking here, so we've got 4 gateways again. We do have the Templar Archives. Is Juno's base safe so far? Looks like it, yeah, and the main is mined out. Juno is spending all of his money. Oh, but there is a Dark Templar out now. Oh no. Oh no, Juno is trying to attack the Dark Templar. Oh, wait, no. Oh, okay, it is getting some up the ramp, but it is trying to... Okay, the probe got taken out there. I'm, like, kind of at a loss for words here, because I don't even know what's going on at this point. We've got Zealot, massive Zealot fight. I thought this game was over. I learned a very important lesson here. Never count Purple Wave out. But yeah, so Juno is trying to attack the Cloaked Dark Templar, not realizing that it can't do so. But when there are uncloaked units nearby, it's willing to engage. I don't know if Juno is not producing any more Dark Templar, but is continuing to produce cannons. Oops. But now, how well will Purple Wave do going up against the cannons here? I think Purple Wave is going to be able to win this. Juno has not taken a third base at the moment. Is starting up Zealot production again. So we'll have an army, but it's not going to be able to do anything against the Dark Templar. Unless the Dark Templar wander into the cannons. Whew. I am really wondering when these bases sprung up, though. I completely missed that. But yeah, it looks like Juno's trying to get those Zealots down to the cannons, but not able to because there's a base right in the path that they want to take. And Juno bringing more probes up front to try and build more cannons. Purple Wave getting a nice army. Let's check the upgrades really quick. Has the leg upgrade. Pretty small army, but considering that Juno does not have an army at all, just the cannons, I think that is alright for right now. We have some fighting going on. Pretty much, okay, there's this these pylons here that are being cleaned up. That's where the other firing that I'm hearing is going on. This Dark Templar just patrolling just in range until he dies, apparently. Nice placement of the Dragoon there, attacking the cannon. Taking that out before it's able to finish. The Purple Wave, 2 mining bases right now. Juno is still just on the 1 mining base from what I can see. High Templar are out for Purple Wave, though those are not going to be able to do much against against cannons, rather. Juno does have a nice bank of minerals and is not spending any of it on units, just trying to get these cannons up. Which Purple Wave finally stabilizing a little bit here, taking out this high ground cannon position, and finally taking out some of the pylons in its second base. And I think this game is a true testament to the survivability of Purple Wave as well. Losing your main and continuing to operate just business as usual is not a skill that every bot has, I would say. Probably a good chunk of bots do. But some bots, if you can take out their main, they never really reconsider their bases. So this was a great game to watch and see the versatility and just the durability of Purple Wave to be able to come back. And we'll go ahead and speed this up a bit as Purple Wave is now marching on the natural. Cleaning up here. Now taking on the main. And then it'll have to clean up this part up here. Oh, it looks like Juno did start to take a third as that second was mining out, but was not able to sustain the cannons, especially because it kind of cut the Zealot. Although this might be a bit of a problem. It is able to get some units through though, so it will take this out over time. There we go, and the cannons fall, so now the gateways will fall. Yeah, I blame partly me missing the bases on the side there due to the positioning of my mic arm. It kind of is covering up the minimap a little too much, I find now. And very well played by Purple Wave to come back after losing its main. Now, what I want to see here is where that second got established. See, there's these 2 probes out here. So then where did Purple Wave actually... So this is where the main is first getting destroyed. I wonder if it's when he started to do that massive rebuild. Kind of keeping an eye on these probes here in the production tab. Speed it up a little bit here. So, nope, not yet. Oh, wait, did we go? Okay, so we went and built now. Yeah, it was right when, so whatever triggered to make it go, okay, I need to get out of what I'm doing currently and do something else. Because we'll see the Citadel also get thrown down here. So that's when it went and did the double expand. Okay, cool, cool. Very well played. Very interesting game overall. Let's go ahead and jump into the next one. For our second game here, I decided we would look at some of the higher ranked bots. We have Proxy, who is 10-4 as of the moment of this recording, going up against Ironbot, who is 10-0. So Proxy, which kind of gives away the winner of this game, I suppose, but that's alright. So Proxy is spawning as the yellow Zerg at the top of Python, going up against Ironbot, the blue Terran, down here at the bottom of Python. Ironbot, actually, I feel like is a bot that I have not really casted much, at least that I can remember offhand. It seems like Iron's games don't get recommended quite as much on the replays channel for whatever reason. Now, I can see that Ironbot was last updated back in 2019, so it looks like Ironbot did not receive an update for this year's tournament while it did for last year's. However, Proxy, I believe, I'm just double checking really quickly here. Yeah, or no, is also last updated from 2019, back in January, so it looks like it was actually probably updated after the last year's tournament. So both of these bots are still doing strong though. Ironbot currently undefeated. Although it looks like it has matched up mainly against bots that have been like upper mid to lower tier, upper mid to low tier so far. So I don't know if that has to do with its current undefeated status or not, but otherwise we should be in for a good game here. Proxy has also clearly played more games than Iron so far in the tournament, so that could also be contributing to the score differential. Now, Iron has scouted where Proxy is. Proxy looking like it's going for 3 hatches with its spawning pool and getting a safety sunken. Although that sunken is pretty run-buyable if you ask me, especially you come up here, just skirt around here. I can't remember if Ironbot is known for its run-bys, but it does see the sunken. Decides to chase after that drone there for a moment, but then backs off as it does not have vulture speed just yet. Not going to be a good idea to try and do a run by without vulture speed and having a lone vulture there, but does have a couple more vultures on the map. Looks like 4, and able to handle the Zerglings that were out pretty easily. I don't see Zergling speed is underway, though maybe a little bit late, hard to say. It actually feels pretty decently timed for having gone 4 hatches, but you just lost all of your Zerglings to the vultures. Speed is completed. There is an SCV that can go ahead and attempt repairs, chasing after the highly damaged vulture there. Third base is underway for Proxy over in the top left, and it looks like Iron is macroing behind this. Did manage to do the run by. I caught on the minimap there. Repositioned the mic so I can see that a bit better now. We do have the lair down now, and I'm wondering, we have a Hydralisk Den, so I'm wondering if we will see lurkers or not. Although Hydralisk Den, not a bad play up against mech, but now we do have the tanks out. We do have mines, but we don't have siege mode yet, and the natural is up. It looks like the vultures in the main have been handled. The SCVs that were outside of the natural being chased down, but now the tank getting into it a little bit. The Zerglings, though, not exactly coordinating against the tank, but did pick off all of the SCVs that were out there. The tank having taken heavy damage, but the vultures able to clean up the Zerglings in the end though they did give the vultures a bit of trouble here. Now this base completely undefended, except for a few zerglings, which can't do anything against the vultures. Going to be taken out here. And wisely just leaves the hatchery behind. No need to fire shots at that with the vultures just yet. Just go ahead and take out the units. And also, there may be advantages to that when you're playing against a bot as well, because the bot's going to say, oh, well, I still have this base. Let me just keep sending stuff over there. You don't have that base anymore, though. So I don't know if that is necessarily the intended effect or not. Now, we do have siege mode, so the sunken is going to fall. I think we're going to see the contain here by iron. Yep, we do have turrets starting up now for detection and anti-air on this contain, which is something I love to see from iron, that forward building. Meanwhile, behind us, we're just 2 bases. We've got some mines going down here. Again, just cleaning up the units and then backing away. And also, I love that that vulture was just kind of pausing there. And we've got the units in the main and in the natural. The mines taking out the larva. Forgot the word for a minute. We've got the wraiths in it now. All we need is a partridge and a pear tree. Or the kitchen sink. One or the other. But this game, decidedly going for Iron Bot. Proxy just not really getting to do much. It went for the 3 hatches with the spawning pole and just did not transition in time into anything that could handle this mech. And so really, you know, a bit of a build order win there for Iron, but a win nonetheless. And we will speed this up if I can hit the right button for it. As Iron now, after the main is gone, and Proxy leaves. GG. For our third game today, we will have a couple of bots from the middle of the pack. We have Queso Bot coming in currently at 3 wins and 4 losses, spawning as the red Terran in the top left, up against Zur, who is the orange Zerg, spawning in as the orange Zerg at the top right of, once again, Empire of the Sun. And so it looks like Quesobot will be scouting Zur, while Zur, scouting with a very early drone, will be scouting in the wrong direction. Quesobot going ahead and throwing down his barracks and base, so we're not seeing any sort of barracks supply depot type of mid-map proxy cheese. Zur going ahead and getting 12 drones, gonna go ahead and 12 hatch at the natural. And let's go ahead and get our production tab up. Meanwhile, Quesobot going ahead and getting some Marines. Looking like, oh, okay, getting a in main bunker, so not doing a fast expand, at least that I can tell at the moment. The spawning pool is coming down now for Zur, so pretty standard build here. Zur at this point now finding where Quesobot is. Drone's gonna run into the, I like the SCV response here by Quesobot. How long are these SCVs gonna stay here? Because this is mining time lost with 4, now a 5th sitting there idle, and now another drone being sent by Zur to its doom, and now yet another not being sent. It went ahead and turned around. Okay, so we do have a layer coming down now, so I'm thinking that we're going to get some type of, yep, there's the Hydralisk Den. I was suspecting lurkers based on this 2 hatcheries, and then the lair that quickly with no real defense to speak of, except for the 1 creep colony. Though it does know that Queso is on 1 base. These 4 SCVs, I like that they were pulled, but I don't like that they continue to sit there. Just because, again, that's money being lost while those SCVs are sitting idle. You also have the creep colonies being spawned into sunken, or morphed rather, into sunken colonies before they need to be, as there's nothing moving out here. But you also don't have anything sitting out here watching for the move out. So I guess because you don't have anything as a forward scout, you do kind of need to morph these blind. But generally speaking, what you would want to do is have something stationed out here. You could have tossed a couple Zerglings or something so that you could see when this army moves out. And even then, you don't want to morph right away, although in these close positions you might want to. You want to morph at the last possible moment, so that way you save those minerals potentially for, you know, morphing your Hydras into your lurkers or getting your lurker aspect. Now we are getting the Comsat station, so he's going to have detection. Lurker aspect is just about done, so we are starting to see the lurkers morph now, and they're going to go ahead and come up here, but we're going to be low on scans. Not going to have too many of them, only having just made this Comsat station. So this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. This army's going to move out here probably to take this natural, or it could be a push. It's a push. Okay, I thought that was going to be more a move out to take the natural. So now we do get the scan. It was a little bit dangerous there with the way that those units were clumped over top of the lurker. We do have Zer doing a little bit of a move out here, but that's sort of defensively. Oh, I guess we were out of scans because not a single scan came down. Marines got caught up on now a scan, but there were no attacking units there, so not looking good for Quesobot at the moment. A lone Marine getting picked off there by the Hydralisks. And no detection here, but gonna go ahead and repair the bunker. But the SCVs are in range of the lurkers. They can be repaired by the medics, though. Not looking good. Zer might be able to break this down. Doing damage, but only 2 lurkers because it did lose one, where it was a lone lurker. Oh, we do get a scan off, though, and they're in range of the Marines. The Marines in the bunkers able to take one of them out, so Zer down to just 1 lurker now, which I don't think is going to be enough to cut it. We do have a transition over to Mutalisks, which I think maybe should have just been more lurkers, really. And then the Mutalisks flying right into the bunker. Not what you want to see. If you are going to do that switch, there is plenty of room up here to harass this natural and shut it down while keeping this bunker pinned with the lurker, which as soon as there's enough energy for scan, this 1 lurker is going to go bye-bye. And then the Marine randomly ran out on top of the lurker and died as well. So Quesobot looking to be in a much better position than I expected, though now 2 new lurkers run up, but there's still 2 lurkers, which this set of bunkers and SCV, or the set of SCVs and bunker, have handled just fine. Now we just, then there's the scan, the one lurker is going to go down, the other lurker just out of range, and then we just, again, right into the bunker. And that's something that we're seeing from a lot of the newer Zergs that are having a very strong performance lately, is that what they're doing with the Mutalisks is just completely different. They're avoiding the threat and going in for that harassment. That is something that we haven't seen for a long time. But Zer behind this, going ahead and getting Mutalisks, not getting a third or anything, which is a bit concerning for me here, because Queso is sustainable at this current setup. We do have more lurkers going down, so it looks like what Zer is doing is just trying to do more of the same, but stronger, perhaps. Now, some of those Mutalisks there, I thought were taking a little bit of a better approach, but it looks like not quite being out of range of the bunker, and so Quesobot able to handle it just fine. Quesobot behind this is macroing up, does have the starport here, is getting a natural setup. Because these lurkers are so far back, was able to get those SCVs over there to build that second base. Gonna ahead and move up, conga lining a bit here, really taking a lot of losses to those lurkers, but did take quite a few of them out. But for now, that push was handled, and now Zer feeling strong, moving in, which it really should not have done. Oh, and the unit's just running over the lurkers and now getting hit. The lurkers easily handling that push, but really I feel like Queso is still a bit in the stronger position here because, I mean, you've got the 3 lurkers, sure, but Queso is just very quickly replenishing with the Marines and the Fire Bats. The lone Fire Bat kind of getting picked off there. Does have the Science Vessel if it will use it. Position them right. Which we did get a little bit there, but it seems almost like it's a bit afraid to expose those Science Vessels, which we haven't seen any Scourge yet. But it is cool to see that defensive play there, with the desire to keep your Science Vessels protected. But in order to save on those scans, you do have to move them forward a bit. They have to be within sight range of those lurkers. Now the lurkers are going to get some work here, but I don't think we have... Yeah, we don't have siege mode, which is perhaps a big miss from Quesobot. If it had siege mode, it could handle these lurkers real easy. with the tanks. Just siege them up, move these guys out in front a little bit. If you see some Scorch, react and pull them back type of thing. Now we're just ignoring that altogether as we move down the map, but we are taking a 4th base now for Quesobot, it looks like. And the Zerg is being forced to retreat. Zerg, meanwhile, did take a 3rd. And it looks like it is on its way to take a 4th, so it is behind in bases. Didn't really do a whole lot with the contain that it had set up. Really, as Zerg behind that contain, you want to be expanding. Quesobot going ahead and taking another base down in the bottom left of the map as well. While pushing forward here now, this tank very exposed. But again, that's the kind of thing you're going to have happen when you don't have siege mode. But this force very well might be enough. M&Ms are... they're a DPS machine, really, which is one of the reasons why SK Terran got so popular. They're also very cheap and quick to replace as they get lost, and so this force, I think, is going to be able to take out this natural. And we do have the science vessels overhead here. And so, yeah, Quesobot cleaning up the natural here, but struggling a little bit with the lurkers. Mainly the struggle here seems to be just not spacing out or spreading out your units, because lurkers with their splash damage in that line can just deal tons of damage if the units are lined up just right. Gonna go ahead and take out this natural, and then I like the force that I'm seeing here move out on the mini-map, and also the split up here. We've got one force coming this way, the other force coming down to this base. I really like that. That Quesobot is working with these separate squads that are achieving different goals, which is another step that some bots you don't see. I think it's kind of like a step in your bot development. So you have your army control, every single unit is going to the same goal, and then like sort of the next step is being like, okay, well, I should be able to split my army up and do multiple tasks with them if they're large enough. And so here we can see Quesobot showing off that skill. Backing off of the main now, just to clean up the space here. I've already cleaned up the 4th base? Yeah, the 4th base down there. Now coming back to the main, leaving that extractor. It should probably find that extractor and clean that up eventually. So we'll just speed this up just a little bit here as I'm watching the army. And yep, there we go. Turning for that extractor. GG, Quesobot. For our 4th match of the day, we've got from the lower end of the rankings currently, we have Slater spawning in as the Orange Protoss at a record of 2-9, going up against Marine Hell, spawning as the Purple Terran down at the bottom middle of Icarus. And Marine Hell, as we can see, last updated 2017, is a very great example of a bot that was written in a time frame of 5 hours. And so in such a short time, it's a pretty good bot for that. Meanwhile, Slater did receive an update in April this year, so it doesn't look specifically updated for this year's tournament, but has been updated since last year's tournament. Now it looks like we did get a 1-gate cyber core, or yeah, cybernetic core, 1-gate core from Slater, and moving out with the Zealots. Meanwhile, Marine Hell does have the bunker on the low ground, and going ahead and filling it up with the Marines. Now, it's going to be interesting to see what Slater does here up against this bunker. Besides, it has, I don't believe that it's even seen the bunker yet, or has it? Because it did. Actually, I'm a little bit curious about that, because I don't think I saw it scout any of the other locations unless I missed a probe. So I will probably double check that here when this match ends. But either way, Slater is dancing outside the Naturals choke for Marine Hell. Now, Marine Hell does not expand so far as I remember, but we can see this SCV is long distance mining, and that's just because it ended up building this bunker in the natural, essentially, and then told it to gather from the closest mineral field, which happens to be from the natural. And now Marine Hell is building up its barracks because it's going to do this one base, mass a bunch of Marines, and push into the opponent. Slater going to go ahead and peek in for a moment with its Zealots and Dragoons, and then go ahead and just politely back off. Says, okay, I can't quite take that yet. It does have an observatory and observers, which seems like a very safe, just sort of generic, or not generic, but general play to do to get your detection. Just be safe. If you always have it, then in the situations where you need it, you're going to have it. But in this case, observers are not going to do much against a massive marine field. Now, and actually, these marines would probably just toast at these numbers this Protoss army. So it's going to be interesting to see here if Slater's going to get any type of splash damage or storm in time before Marine Hell's big push. And here it comes. The Marines are moving out, running into the Protoss. The Protoss falling back a bit here. Falling back, and now the now deciding to engage, and then deciding up. Wait, no, actually, I can't take that. Gonna go ahead and run back here. Pushed all the way back to its natural here as we followed it. And just, yeah, it does have the robotics facility, but I don't see a Reaver out yet. Oh, a Reaver is now under construction, which could save it. It's going to lose this natural, but if that Reaver can get out in time with some Scarabs and the Marines, then that not in the way, and the Marines on the ramp here, then yeah, Slater would be able to, but the Marines are spilling out over the top of the ramp. The Reaver is not popped yet. It is now popped, but it's going to have to fall back. It is starting to get its Scarabs, but it's going to have to use them very effectively to push this flood of Marines back. There's some very nice, but now it's just letting the base get destroyed, unfortunately. There are Marines in range now. Is it going to actually fire at them? It doesn't look like it's going to. Well, there was a shot. When over half of it had Scarabs, it fired one shot. It was very unfortunate to see that. But I think when you get towards the lower chunk of the competition, this is where you see games like this happen. It's very unfortunate because the Reaver really could have done a lot of work, really could have turned this around for Slater, but it just hung back, did not attack. But otherwise, I mean, a Reaver is not a bad choice. You could either go that or you could go High Templar. But now it looks like Marine Hell having a little bit of a problem here in targeting buildings. I'm wondering if it's going to change where it's attacking. It just has the one Marine. We'll go ahead and speed this up a bit here. Oh, okay, and then it did find the rest of the buildings and clean up. So let's go ahead and jump back up towards the upper portion of the ladder here for our next game. Well, not ladder, but of the tournament. For our fifth and final game of today, we are going with two bots that are currently in the top 16, which the top 16 move on to the elimination round. So we have Stardust spawning as the blue Protoss, the top left, with a record of 6-2, going up against Willie T, the yellow Terran, who currently has a record of 6-2. Willie T is the yellow Terran down in the bottom left of La Mancha. So this will be a exciting matchup to watch. PVT, two bots that are in the top right now, and of course, being in the top right now this early in the tournament, when there's not a lot of games played, out of the 3,000 or so that need to be played, doesn't necessarily mean a whole lot, but you do have to have a very, very good win percentage to make it to the elimination round at the end. So typically, you know, the bots that are jumping out front at first, after at least a few games have been played, you know, are pretty decent contenders usually for that elimination round. And then slowly as the weeks progress, you'll see some bots picking up some more losses. And as that happens, then you'll see those bots start to drift down towards the middle and out of the range of the elimination bracket. But I think this will still be an exciting game to watch. So we have Stardust here, going with Gate Core, followed by 2 more gates it looks like, and I wonder if we will see a 4th gate come down for a 4-gate play. We're seeing another pylon go down. I thought that was going to be a gateway. But Stardust, as we know, usually goes for the very heavy goon play with excellent micro. Here, Willie T, we have the bunker on the high ground with a few Marines, which will be good protection in case there was any sort of zealot rush happening. And we did get 2 zealots to hold our gate, which can be good against any type of rush. But we're not really seeing a rush. Though we do have 4 zealots now. Looks like we are expanding with those 4 zealots. Going to go ahead and get our natural. And push forward with those 4 zealots to check out what the Terran is doing. Since we don't have a scout down there now. Willie T getting some medics. So it looks like we're going... and a fire bat. So we're going for a barracks level push as opposed to going straight for tech. So it'll be interesting to see Marines in high enough numbers can deal with Dragoons pretty well. And with that bit of fire bat support could handle these zealots. But it'll be interesting to see because the army is kind of conga lining, and we do have the SCVs coming out with this, so Stardust being forced to push back, but this bridge could play to his advantage. I'd love to see it actually turn and fight here at the bridge. Willie T is going to have a hard time getting past this here. And it looks like, yep, they are able to push across though, and they are taking some losses, but able to repel the attack in the end and push back across. Willie T being forced to fall back to his main. Meanwhile, behind this, we're getting our 5th gateway now for Stardust, and going to move in here. Now, it's going to have a bit of a time, though, with this bunker here positioned on the high ground. Don't think it's going to want to engage with that, but it will pick off any units that it happens to pull down off of the ramp here. Now, we do have the factory, but we also, as you can see here, we do have the mischance, though. So not all of these Dragoon shots are landing, but nice repair there by the SCVs. Perhaps pulling a bit too many off and being a bit indecisive with them there, but in the end, keeping the bunker alive, and that is what is important. Due to the low ground, high ground difference here, the Dragoons are struggling to push up this ramp. We do have our tank now, and we are researching... Keep opening up the resources thing. I'm just trying to open up the research. We are getting siege mode, so we will have that soon, but I don't think we have any more tanks. The tank ended up getting picked off. Dragoons trying to push up this ramp, but just not able to. It looks like Stardust is taking the top right base as well. I will check that in a minute. The SCVs, though, keeping the bunker alive. And Willie T should be able to keep this alive if it can keep it alive long enough to get this tank out. Losing too many SCVs, though. No need to throw the SCVs at the Dragoons. Just keep the SCVs repairing. And really, you could even position these SCVs a little bit further away from the action and keep them safe. Now, I like the little spin there of that SCV, but now we have siege mode and high ground, and these Dragoons are going to be forced to back off if they want to keep their lives going. Another siege, pushing the Dragoons back a bit more. Dragoons thinking about engaging and then back off for a little bit and then think about it and then back off a little bit. They're kind of doing the stance where they're just needlessly taking damage. Really, you should just camp up here, force Willie T to push you back. And yep, he did take that top right, and now he's taking this expansion here, the natural, for a 4th base. Trying to bust this again, but we've got more tanks here. And pushing in, let's see here. Now trying to take the natural. Natural getting taken out, but the tanks moving up a little bit. Staying on the high ground, though, so they're safe. I was worried that the tanks were going to move down onto that low ground. Repositioning to be able to get some shots, but they are a bit more exposed now. But the mischance and the Dragoons clumping on the tanks. Finally got some Dragoons in the main here. Willie T just struggling to have the money. The minerals really are what's killing it. Can't produce much. It does have a lot of gas. Pulled almost all of the SCVs out here, trying to keep this alive, but there's just too many Dragoons here. Now we've got the observers out. Just look at that production. That beautiful, beautiful production from Stardust. And in the end, it looks like Stardust will take the win from Willie T. Well played by both. good attempt there to move or to get those tanks and try to use the high ground to the advantage, but in the end, just too many Dragoons piled up there and they were just able to overcome it. Well played by both. So something that I wanted to show off here real quick at the end is a website by Lines Prower. And ever since it was pointed out the pun in that name, I constantly want to say it that way. But I'm doing my best to say it correctly now. But I wanted to point this out because Lines Prower put this up. It's a cross table, and I will have the URL displayed on screen along with it, which is a live updated. So if I refresh this, any new games that have completed would be shown on it. And you can see that even some of the wins and losses listed here on this are different from what were shown when I was casting the matches, because I was grabbing those off the SSCAIT website. And obviously some games have been played since I was doing the cast, or, you know, casting the game and all of that. So this is a really awesome visualization of where bots stand. The elimination bracket potential candidates, essentially the positions that would make up the elimination bracket, are here, not shaded, and then the rest are all kind of shaded gray. But you can see how each bots are doing. If you hover over matchups, it will show the names, so that you can see. For example, this is Iron and Proxy. You can also, there are some that are highlighted in blue, so like the next game, from when I refresh this page, is going to be NLPR bot and Dragon. And then I can see too that coming up in 8 games is Stardust against Qbot. So this is a really, really cool tool, and this is kind of what I was using to pick out, you know, games from the elimination bracket bots, between, you know, the middle pack and the bottom pack. So this is a really great tool. I would recommend taking a look at it in addition to the SSCAIT website itself, to see where the bots are standing as the weeks progress and the games progress. Very excited for this year's tournament, and I hope you are too. I want to thank you for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed today's broadcast. Stay safe, everyone. I'll see you next time. Until then.